Hello everyone, welcome back to ESL DRILL. I am MNB Achari. In this video, we are going to discuss this news article which is headlined, "Pushed into selling tea, Youth Turns a Good Samaritan." He has been feeding the abandoned during lockdown. Now he has sponsored a sewing machine for a Chennai woman. Let's discuss the headline first and then we get into the article. The headline says, "Pushed into selling tea." It means forced into selling tea. It means you're forced by circumstances, forced by the situation into selling tea. Youth turns a good Samaritan. So here youth means a young man. Turns means changes into a good Samaritan. A good Samaritan is a person who gives help and sympathy to people who are in need. So simply, a good Samaritan helps people in need. He has been feeding the abandoned. So feeding here means giving food. He has been giving food to the abandoned. So the abandoned means people who are left and no longer wanted by the society, no longer wanted by the other people. So deserted people. So people who are left, especially children and elderly people. So the abandoned. He has been giving food to the abandoned people during lockdown. Now he has sponsored a sewing machine for a Chennai woman. Look at this sponsor. Sponsor is a verb which means to agree to give somebody money for a charity if they complete a particular task. This young man sponsored a sewing machine. It means here this young man decided to help that Chennai woman by giving her a sewing machine. Okay, let's get into the news article now. Let me read the first paragraph. A fortnight ago, Chennai-based volunteer N. Venkatesan, working for Udhavam Kailgal, a group formed to support the underprivileged affected by the COVID-19 lockdown, received a call for help from a single mother in Sholinganallur. The woman, who was working as a domestic help, had lost her job during the lockdown. She requested him for a sewing machine so that she could stitch clothes and earn a living to feed her two children. Okay, a fortnight ago. So we discussed this word in one of our earlier news articles. Fortnight is 2 weeks' time. So around 15 days. That's a noun. So a fortnight ago means 2 weeks ago, Chennai-based volunteer. Means volunteer is a person who offers to serve willingly. So without being forced or without asking for money. So a Chennai-based volunteer, a volunteer from Chennai, whose name is N. Venkatesan, working for Udhavam Kailgal, a group formed to support the underprivileged affected by the COVID-19 lockdown. So you know what's happening here because of this COVID-19 lockdown situation. Now many underprivileged are suffering. Let's look at the word underprivileged. That's an adjective which means having less money and fewer opportunities than most people in society. There are some people in the society that have been affected the most by this COVID-19 situation. These are called underprivileged people. So this N. Venkateswaran, the volunteer, was working for a group which was supporting the underprivileged people. Okay, now that Venkatesan received a call for help from a single mother in Sholinganallur. That's a place. He got a call from her. The woman was actually asking him for some help. Actually, the woman was working as a domestic help. Let's look at the phrase domestic help. That's a noun. Domestic help is a noun, which means a person who is paid to help with cleaning and other menial tasks, other simple tasks in a person's home. This woman was working in a person's home doing simple jobs. She used to get money every month. But now because of this COVID-19 situation, she lost her job. She requested him to find a sponsor who could give her a sewing machine, so that by getting a sewing machine, she could stitch clothes and earn a living. So this earn a living is nothing but make a living. It means here make money to survive, so that she could make some money and survive and feed her two children and can find food for her two children. Okay, let's read the second paragraph. A person from Madurai came forward and donated the machine, worth around 18,000 rupees. The sponsor also arranged a month's groceries for the family. When Mr. Venkatesan connected with the sponsor through video call to convey the woman's gratitude, he was taken aback. Okay, let's look at the first part of the second paragraph. When Mr. Venkatesan passed on the message on WhatsApp, immediately Mr. Venkatesan started spreading this message on WhatsApp. He was actually seeking sponsor. So seek means ask for. He was looking for a sponsor. And finally, he found a person from Madurai who came forward and donated the machine. Look at this phrasal verb, come forward. Come forward means to offer help, service, etc. A man from Madurai came forward. Means here he was ready to offer his service and help, and he donated the sewing machine, which was worth 18,000 rupees. Not just that, this man, the sponsor, also arranged a month's groceries for the family. So what are groceries? Groceries, this word is a noun, food and other goods sold by a grocer or at a supermarket. So food and other items. He offered 1 month groceries for the family. And finally, Mr. Venkatesan connected with the sponsor through the video call to convey the woman's gratitude. Let's look at this word gratitude first. Gratitude is a noun, which means the feeling of being thankful for something or thankful to somebody for something. Here, the woman wanted to convey her gratitude. Convey means here to pass or to express. She wanted to express her thankfulness to this young man who donated her the sewing machine and 1 month's groceries. And when Mr. Venkatesan connected this woman to the young man through the video call, Mr. Venkatesan was taken aback. Look at this here. This expression is actually be taken aback. It means be shocked and be surprised. This Mr. Venkatesan was shocked and surprised. Let's see why he was shocked and surprised. Let me read this paragraph. I expected the sponsor to be a businessman, aged around 40, but it was A. Tamilarasan, a 23-year-old BSc Computer Science graduate. He sells tea. He proved that money or age is no deterrent when it comes to helping others, said Mr. Venkatesan. Okay. The reason why Mr. Venkatesan was surprised and shocked was this. The sponsor who donated the sewing machine to this woman in need was actually a 23-year-old young man. So who was a graduate, BSc Computer Science graduate. This man is just 23 years old. This young man sells tea. He proved that money or age is no deterrent. Let's look at this word deterrent here. Deterrent is a thing that discourages somebody from doing something. Now, this man's act of donating this sewing machine to this woman proved that money or age is not something that stops us from helping other people. Mr. Venkatesan said this. By the way, you came across this word graduate here. Graduate is someone who has completed a university degree, a first university degree. Let's move to the next paragraph here. Stories of this ilk, however, are not new for Mr. Tamilarasan, who has been feeding abandoned elderly persons during the lockdown using his earnings from selling tea. Simple paragraph. Let's go back. Stories of this ilk. So this word ilk, ilk, is a noun which means type or kind. It means this type of stories. Or stories of this type, stories of this kind are not new for this young man because he has been feeding abandoned elderly people, aged people, during the lockdown using his earnings from selling tea. He just sells tea and makes some money, and he helps all these people with the money that he earns from selling tea. Let's look at the next paragraph here. Mr. Tamilarasan, whose parents died when he was a year and a half old, grew up in an orphanage in Arupukottai. I'm not sure of the pronunciation, excuse me if I pronounced it wrongly. After graduation, he moved to Chennai in search of a job, but only in vain. Okay, let's get back to this one. Mr. Tamil Rasan, whose parents died when he was a year and a half old. When he was 1.5 years old, he lost his parents and he grew up in an orphanage. You know, orphanage is a home for children whose parents are dead. Okay, and those children are called orphans. ORPHANS. Okay, after graduation, we have already discussed this word graduation. He moved to Chennai. It means here he left that place and then moved to Chennai, went to Chennai in search of a job, looking for a job, but only in vain. So, in vain is an interesting idiom which means without success. He moved to Chennai looking for a job, but it was all without a success. And he ended up being a tea seller. Okay, so I wanted to stop this news article here because it's going to be a very lengthy video. I don't want it to be that long. Dear friends, can you please spare a moment to write about this young man's story and how it has inspired you? Okay, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.